Hello, welcome to 321 with Dr. Bunn from Waco, Texas, where I am attending the Texas National Association of Multicultural Education Conference at Baylor University. That's not right. Baylor University. Dr. Bunn. We got sent home early because of a tornado warning, so I thought I would process what I learned today on day one of the conference. Our keynote speaker was Dr. Geneva Gay, who is a very big deal in the education community, so it was an honor to hear from her. So we started our 321 with three things I learned. And normally I like to give you new information that I've gained, but something that stuck out to me today was that sometimes you relearn something or something just hits you in a different way. So I'm going to give you three things I thought about differently today because of the way Dr. Gay shared them with us. Number one, differences are not deficiencies. I'm not even going to qualify that or explain it. I am going to say it again. Differences are not deficiencies. Number two, you cannot treat everyone the same because everyone is an individual. So that one really was interesting to me because I am one of those people that will say, I treat everyone the same. I grew up in the generation of color blindness and I don't see color. I think we're starting to learn that that is not the right way to approach things. We are not all the same. So if you are treating everyone exactly the same, you're not honoring who they are as an individual. And we need to honor each other as individuals and learn from each other and celebrate our differences. Third, misinformation is just another word for lies. My first takeaway from what Dr. Gay shared with us is that we are all always living in the margins and the mainstreams. I think we get kind of stuck sometimes in looking at who is a minority, who is in the majority, who is in the dominant group. But all of that is really situational. Certainly when you take a national perspective, there are minority groups. There is the dominant culture. I am part of the dominant culture as a white person in America, but there will also be times that I am in the margins. So the way she explained this was talking about how she goes home to visit her family in Georgia. So in one way, when she is teaching at her predominantly white university, she is in a marginal group. She is surrounded by people who do not look like her, who are not from her culture. But when she goes home to Georgia, she's in the mainstream. So just because that is still technically a minority in America, it's the mainstream for her and her culture. So all of that to say, we are all constantly code switching depending on where we are. Sometimes we're in the margin, sometimes we're in the mainstream, but the best way to be a good human is to be flexible and to adapt where you are. Another takeaway I have was the idea of creating grace spaces. We hear a lot about safe spaces, but that's really the bare minimum. So by creating a grace space in your school or your job or your family, wherever you are, that requires you to have solid relationships with the people in your life. It gives a place for people to make mistakes and to learn. So that idea of giving grace, we're all learning all the time. We're all growing all the time, and we are all going to mess up. So building relationships so that you can have those grace spaces is very important. My remaining question has to do with school safety. For generations, parents could drop their kids off at school trusting that they would be safe and come home, and that's not the case anymore. We are facing gun violence in schools. Kids are facing microaggressions depending on their sexuality, their gender, their race. Sometimes it's aggression, not microaggressions. In some cases, certain ways of being are being erased from the conversation. So what do we do to make our schools safe again? What does safety mean to us? So I think it's difficult to feel lost and like you don't know what to do, but I will tell you that's where I am right now with my nieces who are in school. I don't always know how to talk to them about what's going on, but that's a question I think we should all consider and wrestle with in the current climate. How can we make our schools safe again? Thanks for joining me, and I'll I'll see you next time.